what'd you like? What didn't you like about the game last night?
I like that we won. Didn't like that Prince only got to play 9 minutes. There's a lot of things, as a coach you look at and want to get better at. That's after a win or after a loss. But our guys showed good resilience. It's a quick turnaround when you play on Monday after Saturday, particularly with the way the game went on Saturday. Our guys did a good job coming back on Sunday with an eagerness to get better and kind of face up to certain things that we needed to see from that Baylor game and improve on.
Speaking of Prince's foul trouble, your opponents consistently get into the bonus quicker than you do. Have you looked at that? Do you think there's any overarching reason for that?
Have I looked at it? I mean, I'm aware of it, but overarching reason, we foul more than the other team. That's the reason behind that. I think sometimes it's a lack of discipline. I think a lot of Prince's fouls last night were avoidable. Sometimes it's, it's getting a feel for how the officials are calling the game and adjusting to that. I don't think we did a good job of that last night, because it is different from game to game and from crew to crew. We just got to get better at it. I think obviously we're not in any type of mode to make excuses, but I do think when you're a little bit bigger out there, you have less of a reason to foul around the basket and on rebounds. And our best rebounding guy we haven't had since late December. That might be a part of it as well.
Is there any update on him?
He's got a doctor's appointment tomorrow, so no update in terms of the official word from doctors, but he's been increasing his weight he can put on the foot, per the doctor's orders, and our athletic trainer, Leif Morris, has done a great job, along with Daniel Roos, our strength coach. I'll tell you, the Cam is really strong. I mean, he's stronger than he's ever been because he's basically been lifting weights every day. Now, that's not what we're focused on, obviously. It's the foot, getting the foot back. But he's done a really good job. He's done everything we've asked him to do. I think it's been really hard for him just watching because he so much wants to be out there, and he knows this is a senior year that started off really well for him, and he's very motivated to not just to help our team this year be the best it can be, but obviously he wants to continue playing basketball beyond the University of Texas, and he's got a great opportunity to do so, but he feels like he needs to prove himself. So hopefully he can get back as soon as possible.
Do you think this will hurt his draft stock? The fact that he hasn't been able to showcase some skills this year?
I think it remains to be seen. I mean, he's going to be healthy way before any types of decisions are made for that kind of thing. There is a certain element of out of sight, out of mind, and he hasn't played since I think the Stanford game. So he's playing so well, and he was really altering people's opinions of him, including some of the people that make those decisions. But that's all kind of been put on hold over these last couple months, and hopefully once he gets back healthy, he can get that momentum going back in the right direction. I think the guy, and I've not spent one day in the NBA, but I think he's a long-term NBA player. If he continues to work and improve and get in shape, and there's some stars that have to align, but I think in terms of talent and in terms of who he is, I think there's a real place for him there. But it doesn't really matter what I think. I'm just a college coach.
Shaka, I know all losses are equal when it's all said and done, big is that mentally to hang on and get a road win like that?
Yeah, it's big because, I saw a stat on the bottom line when I was running yesterday that we hadn't played a team that wasn't in the top 25 on the road since January 9th. So, we've gone through quite a gauntlet in terms of these road games, and our guys have done a really good job being highly competitive and playing with a good level of aggressiveness. Now, we haven't won all the games, and there's certainly a couple where, you watch the tape like, man, we, one or two plays away. So it's nice to win one of those games, whether it's against a ranked team or not, because Kansas State's a hard place to play. They were playing with a level of urgency and aggressiveness being at home. So it was good for our guys to step up and do what they needed to do to win.
Along those lines, it seemed like Isaiah really kind of embraced the moment and
Yeah.
poise. What do you think of his performance in that regard, and what was going through your head when you pulled up and shot that contested three with about seconds left on the shot clock?
Yeah, he had the jumper going yesterday, and it wasn't just the three. He had two other jumpers earlier in the game, and he only shot 8 times from the field, which I actually like when he's kind of in distributor mode and get fouled mode. And when he is, his attempts are 8, 10, 11, somewhere in there. And also his teammates he's creating shots for his teammates. What did I think? I mean, I like when he goes to the basket, but everyone knows he's going to go to the basket. So, as a basketball player, as a coach, you've got to trust your best players' instincts to make the right play and the right read. And Roger mentioned the OU game. Those shots that he made last night, he missed those against Oklahoma. That's probably the difference in winning and losing both games. He made those shots against Kansas State. They say in the NBA it's a make or miss game. Well, last night he made the shots, so we won. If he missed a shot, we probably would have lost.
So why have you all struggled against the zone defense this year?
Good question. And I think at times we've been pretty good against zone. There's a couple games in particular that our guys have done a great job. The first time we played Baylor, I thought our guys were terrific against zone. I think if you remember, we had 21 assists on 21 baskets, really passed the ball well. It's an aggressiveness that you have to have. I think, we were better against zone when we had more of a threat inside. And again, it is what it is. If you don't have them, then you got to find a way to be good against zone. But I think sometimes when you see zone, guys get a little bit hesitant, and we've been a little bit less aggressive against it. It's something that we work on in practice, but at the same time, it's not our primary defense, so we don't work on it a ton. We work on zone offense more than we work on zone defense, but the zone that we're playing against in practice, if we're playing against ourselves, is not necessarily the best in the country. But it's definitely something we got to keep getting better at because we're going to see it again.
Shaka, last night you started 4 seniors and a junior. How much is experience kind of playing a role in this team excelling late in the season where maybe it hasn't in the past?
Well, I mean, it's the same guys, and hopefully they've learned some lessons, from past seasons. And it's not really about who we start, because you look out there a lot of times. Last night we had 3 freshmen in the game. But to your point, it's good to have some guys in there with experience. And I thought Javon really steadied us in the first half. He's a senior. Made some really heady plays and some great drives. And then I thought, obviously, Isaiah down the stretch, we put the ball in his hands. And, we basically said, hey, we're going to go with what Isaiah does.
Coach, you talk about that gauntlet. Kind of picks back up this week. The guys after the Baylor loss said they didn't come ready to play. Do you feel like they'll be ready to play with OU coming?
They better be. If we're not ready to play, then it won't be pretty. So, that's our job. It's my job as a coach is to get these guys ready, and we've got a lot of time to prepare. But it's not so much about how much time you have, it's about what state of mind that you're in when the game starts. I thought in the Baylor game, for whatever reason, our guys had a level of overconfidence going into the game. I'd be amazed if that's the case on Saturday against Oklahoma. If it is, again, we got deeper problems than just one game. But yeah, Oklahoma, they beat us at their place. We felt like we played most of the game well enough to win, but we didn't pull it out. So certainly there's a lot to be motivated for.
You kind of mentioned in passing about how Isaiah tends to be dramatic at times. And you talked about the conversation you had with him right after Cam got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
What do you remember about his mindset? Kind of how often did you seek to reassure him about things during the year? How big of that?
Yeah, I try to help him with positivity. He's not the most naturally positive guy, and I think that's part of what makes him good. Is he's got a little bit of like the world is out to get me, he's on edge. Again, that's part of why he's successful out there. But my main focus with him is just on trying to build stronger connection with his teammates and trying to help them be better. You're going to succeed through their success. And I think I don't want to speak. I wasn't here before. I don't know, how he was coached by any of his former coaches. But maybe that's a little bit of a paradigm shift for him. And it's not necessarily his natural personality, but I do think he's really tried, and he's been receptive to that message. And when we've been good, he's done a good job lifting up the guys around him.
When he's good, he's going to the hole. Everybody knows he's going to do it, yet he still gets there. How unique is his ability to get to the basket to you that sees a lot of basketball?
Well, it's a matter of just quickness. I think I haven't seen everyone in college basketball, but I don't know if there's a guy that's quicker than him with the ball. There's some really fast, quick guards out there, but he's just got an explosive burst. Now, once you get there, now it's what you do with it, and people obviously are going to load up and give extra defenders to help. So you've got to make the right play around the basket. You got to finish. Like sometimes he's so very fast that he gets a little bit out of control and he doesn't finish the playoff because he's going so fast. There was a couple plays like that early in the game last night. But he's just got to continue to work on. He's so fast. I mean, just being able to use that and then be under control to make the right play at the end. And I think he's improved in that area. He gets fouled a lot.
Do you track baskets made when he ends up on his back out of bounds? Because he's got to be near the top.
Well, I've tried to encourage him to endear himself to the officials a little bit more. Because, seriously, some of those guys have felt like, that he's overly dramatic or that he flops or whatever. And the reality is those guys are human beings too. So, you want to have good relationships with those guys or you want them to feel good about you as a player. But, he does, sometimes he gets hit pretty hard. I've never seen a guy get hit in the head so much. He gets hit in the head a lot. Like there was a play last night where a guy basically tomahawk chopped him in the head. And if you watch the tape, it's like, I don't know if maybe it's because he's so fast, they think they're getting the ball, but by the time that they get there with their hand, they're getting his head. But he is a tough kid to take that licking and just keep battling.
So how does he endear himself to officials? You want him to do that?
He doesn't.
What should he be doing?
Well, if it was me, I mean, I would be talking to those guys throughout the game. I'd be putting my arm around them. I'd be, and I'm not being critical. I mean, I love Isaiah. I love the way that, again, the reason that he doesn't endear himself to officials is because he's me against the world. And again, that works for him. I mean, it's part of his deal. And if he can decide down the stretch here for us, final regular season games and postseason, to be that way, but make it me plus my teammates against the world, that's the most important thing. But you see the guys that are really, really, really smart with the officials, like the Niangs and guys like that. They have a rapport. They understand. Hey, let me work this guy a little bit.
They get the benefit of the doubt, you think, then?
Again, officials are human beings. It's like I tell our guys about professors. You know, if you go see your professors and you spend a little time with them and you say, hey, you know, how's your family? And, you know, tell me a little bit more about this subject matter. And, you know, they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. They're people, just like coaches. Anytime a player has come to me and said, will you work with me extra and help me work on my game, my natural reaction is always, well, this guy wants to get better and work. Let me give him more opportunity. You know, so people are influenced in any walk of life, and officials are no different.
How did you see Isaiah when he was the 350th ranked high school player in the country, and do you think that feeds a lot into what he is now, the mentality you're talking about?
I didn't see him in high school. The first time I saw him play was his freshman year at Texas on TV. Our guys kind of make fun of him because I guess when he was in high school, he had long hair. And it's just funny pictures.
He asked you why you didn't recruit him?
No.
But do you think that little ranking that he had where nobody was really recruiting him, that feeds into the
Yes.
mentality you're talking about?
Yes. I mean, he was underrated and undervalued, and he had a chip on his shoulder. But I think knowing Isaiah, and I didn't know him then, but I would guess he had a chip on his shoulder before any of those rankings. That's just kind of who he is. And to me, again, the key, particularly at that position, is can you take that mentality and can you make your teammates an addendum to that? You know, can they be part of that? That to me, I mean, it's not a comparison, it's just an example, but that's what Kobe Bryant did. Like, Kobe Bryant is a very individualistic player, but what he did is he said, I'm going to make all these other guys part of my deal, like, so they're, you know, we're connected, and that's part of why he won.
How did you know the officials in the Big 12? I mean, did you know them all? Was there a ramping up process?
Oh, well, did I know him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you know them when you came in?
Not very well. I mean, when you come to a new league, there's some crossover. I mean, there's certain guys that, you know, maybe you had in the NCAA tournament, or, you know, Curtis Shaw, who's our assigner of officials, he assigns officials for some of the preseason tournaments, so maybe you've had him there. But the majority of them I've not had. And that, you know, as a coach, you try to develop a rapport too. And it's way easier when you know a guy. I mean, there were certain guys that we had over and over at VCU, and you know those guys, and the officials are different now. This is probably one of the things that really doesn't get talked about much is from game to game. It's a wide variation. I mean, you may have a certain crew of guys that, you know, those three guys have done Final Fours and have gone deep into the tournament, and then on another night, you may have other guys. You may have a group of guys that's, you know, a couple of them are on the older end. You may have younger ones. So, yeah, it's an adjustment, and it's part of the transition when you're new to a league.
How does, going back to Isaiah for a second, how does his kind of personality plan in the way he translated to the court? 'Cause it seems like maybe he slides a little further than most players when he gets fouled in the always.
That's
very-
because he's going so fast. I mean, I would love for you guys to be able to like spend a game at his speed, like, and just experience it because, I mean, he literally, like, his momentum is going so fast that so when he hits the floor, he slides and he's flying around. His personality, he's unique because I think he really, really does value connection deep down. And that's, as coaches, we've tried to build that with him, and he is a very, very intelligent guy, and he's very observant. He sees if you're acting a certain way or you're saying, like, he notices everything. So, we've tried to spend a lot of time with him. I think he appreciates that. I think he appreciates, just belief in him because he constantly feels like he is being slighted. And so I think he takes comfort in knowing that, hey, at least from this coach or this teammate, there's a level of respect that they give me and they believe in me.
What do you think the root of that is? Why do you think he always feels so slighted? I know you've only been around for a year, but what do you think caused that?
I don't know completely. I think for all of us, it's our background. There's some stuff about Isaiah that, I it's not my place to tell you guys, but there's some stuff you guys don't know about him that would shed some light on why he is the way he is. And, I'm appreciative just that he's opened up and shared certain things with me just about his background. You're talking about a guy that he's unique. He comes from a complex set of circumstances. He's got some very loving people in his life, but he looks at things a little bit differently than most of us.
Do you think he'll ever take that mindset where it's me and my team against the world?
He has. He has it several times this year. It's just a matter of whether he can do it consistently, because if you turn it on and off, then, and it's easier said than done, but if you turn it on and off, then it's sometimey. But Phil Jackson said teamwork is a nebulous thing. It's as ephemeral as love disappearing with the latest insult. So like these things, they come and go. And I know I bring it up a lot, but it's the best example I have when I was a part of something. When we went to the Final Four at VCU, we had a 4-week stretch where it didn't come and go. It was there. Like that true bond and connectivity was there over that span of time. And that's why we were able to do special things. So he's done it before. And it's not just him. I mean, he needs other guys with him. If we can kind of put that together, then we can do something special.
Buddy Hill is going to get player of the year votes, may win it. But they have another guy, Cousins, who seems to be the guts of that team. He's a tough-minded individual.
He is.
What does he do for that team? Because I know you've seen him from before. Everybody knows what Buddy does.
Yeah, he's terrific, really. And, I think he's such a good complement to Heald and the rest of their team. And I actually use him as an example for some of our guys. It's, a lot of times guys don't like listening to superlatives about other people in their league, but I don't care. Like I want them to hear about a guy like Cousins, because just from the outside looking in, I don't know him at all as a kid, but I think that he has decided that, hey, this is what my persona is going to be on the court, and I don't care whether you like it or not. Like, this is what works for me, and it's 180 degrees from Buddy Hield, but it gives them a level of attitude and swagger and screw you, And I think that you need that. I mean, having Buddy Hield is phenomenal, making shots and all that. But one guy can't do it by himself. You know, and it's almost like I was watching them earlier in the year before we had played them, and I started thinking, I wonder if Coach Kruger like picks certain segments of the game where it's like, okay, Isaiah Cousins, it's your turn. But then as I was watching them more, I think it's more the players are kind of figuring that out. But he definitely takes over at different times, and he was big in the first game against us. Made some big shots.
Last one.
Shaka, what have you seen from Eric from the start of the season to now as far as his progression goes, and where does he stand as far as his progression in terms of your other guys?
Similar to those other guys. I think all three of those guys are, as I've said a few times, they're on a roller coaster right now, and they're just kind of holding on, trying not to fall out, and they're doing a good job. They're trying to fight human nature or freshman nature right now, and I'd say overall they're doing a really nice job. The thing that I'm appreciative of is they've been very receptive when we do our freshman orientation. They've gotten a lot of extra work in. Like Kerwin Roach, for instance, for him to go 2 for 2 from 3, when that hasn't necessarily been a big strength of his. We needed both of those threes. That's all a function of the work that he's put in and just his commitment. Eric's doing well. I mean, we're just trying to continue to build his confidence. He's a guy that when he's out there playing with a lot of confidence, he does a lot of good things. But you'd be amazed, like, these guys doubt themselves, sometimes. Not just freshmen, I think players in general. And after we played Baylor, I put on the whiteboard for our team, I put up underconfidence, and then I put a line, and I put confidence, and then I put another line, and I put overconfidence. And I think it's a very, very special player to stay in that middle area, that confidence area. I think the vast majority of guys, they fluctuate. We started the game overconfident against Baylor, and we quickly snapped into underconfident. You saw it. And that can happen to a team or an individual. So I think as a freshman, when you're dealing with all the different things that are just our strength coach calls it, they don't have a training age. They haven't been through it before. So all these things that are new to your body and your mind, you just got to kind of hang on and try to follow the process. And Eric's done a nice job of that. The best is yet to come. Where are they in the progression? They're about where I thought they would be. I think all three of those guys will take huge jumps after this season, but I'm trying to get them not to focus on after this season. I'm trying to get them to stay present and do what they can to help our team.
Thanks all.